everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, and today I'm going to be showing you how to paint this crazy, creepy cave with a skull, mountain, and flying away bats on canvas in acrylic step by step. This is part of the 13 Days of Sherpaween from October 1st to October 13th. I come and give my community a brand new Halloween theme painting every single day. Now, to help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello.
He is going to make sure that everything I'm teaching and demonstrating and explaining you can really see by making sure that the cameras are pointing at or zoomed into what I'm doing. That way you have the best possible view at home. General reminder that if you open up the description down below, is the complete list of materials. There's links to my website and other information about this class. So if you're looking for something like, say, the traceable, that's where I would put that, is in the description down below. Now, listen, I'm going to draw this out with you step by step and explain how I do it. But if you're like, I love painting, but I don't love drawing, no worries. That traceable is there. It's free to download. It doesn't require anything to do but to click the link and go take care of that. All right. So now that we know what we're doing, we're going to grab our paint, get our brushes, and come back and meet the easel right now. We're going to paint this together. So on today's easel, I have a 12 by 12 stretched canvas, and on my palette I have the colors Cad Yellow Medium, Cad Red Medium, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, Phthalo Blue, Mars Black, and Titanium White. When we come back, I'm going to show you the first step in this project. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to start out, and I'm going to paint the entire canvas a solid color of ultramarine blue. Now I'm going to put it out. The way I put this out is not how you would put out your paint. I'm just being silly, because silly is fun.
Boo. It's boo love.
That's boo love, right? And I just put out enough paint. I think that's going to cover my canvas. You can do yours directly from the palette. This is just my silliness.
Right.
I do a lot of lessons every week. I've been doing it for 10 years. And so sometimes I do goofy little things that just make me happy.
Yeah.
I'm going to mist this with water. This is just plain water. I like to keep this around because it helps also keep my paint activated. I'm going to grab a big brush. This is a 1-inch oval mop, and I'm going to just paint this whole thing out. You can paint the sides and everything at this stage if you wanted to. I'm just very messy about it, yeah.
Just gotta get squish out.
Just getting it all spread out like frosting on the surface of the canvas. We're just spreading it out. Of course, you would never frost like this. This would be terrible frosting technique.
Yeah.
Don't frost like this. It's terrible frosting technique. You would never, ever frost a cake in this way. Okay. Just working it out so there's no like thick spots or anything. I just want an even coat. Ultramarine blue. Can be streaky. That's okay. Streaky is okay. I'm just making sure it's sort of evenly covered with blue. Even with the brush strokes or anything, they're not going to be a problem because we're painting another layer over this. I'm going to rinse out my brush and put it to the side. And then I'm going to dry this entire surface. And I'm going to dry this surface thoroughly. So for you guys at home, what you'll want to do is, however you're drying your surface, whether it's air drying or using a hair dryer, you want to push pause on me. That's whether you're watching a live, a premiere, or a replay. Push pause on me. And then you don't push play on me until your canvas is dry, and that will keep us painting together. So let's dry our canvases, and I'll meet you right back to show you the next step. All right, so I'm going to take a 1-inch oval mop, and I'm going to get my brush slightly wet. Drag off the extra water, and I'm going to mix a nice kind of 1-to-1 phthalo blue, ultramarine blue together. And it's going to give me like this interesting sort of middle blue. It's really not either one of these. Little more white, a little more water on here. And I'm going to begin to take this brush and make a soft kind of background. Now, normally I use glazing liquid, and I may have to here if the blending doesn't happen, but I'm trying to demonstrate how you would do it with just water. Was the crazy idea that I had at the beginning of the step.
Huh. And how's that going?
It's going pretty well, but I'm having to work very fast.
That That
That
would
is the
be
problem when you are I'm grabbing some of this blue and then I'm
just using
coming.
the water.
When you're just using the water, you have to work very quickly. It usually takes a few attempts to get it.
So if you needed to, you may have to do a couple layers of this to get the blendiness.
Or you get your glazing liquid out to extend the drying time that you have on the paint. See, I'm trying to get the water here so that the edges don't dry on me
Oh
too
yeah,
quickly.
you really got to hustle there.
Yeah, this is why I use the glazing liquid. Is it does make the blending process much, much, much easier. I'm going to go ahead and maybe kind of work some of this down through here. And then while it's all still wet,
Oh,
come through here and kind of add some lights and low lights, creating shadows and highlights, blending it thoroughly into the canvas.
interesting.
You want it to sort of be moody, misty,
Moody.
not just one color, kind of moody, misty, cloudy, a little bit.
Definitely got that.
Gonna get that going. Yeah, and sometimes it takes a couple coats to get it where you want it to be. Take this little paint and I brush. So my trick is now I'm almost using the wet paint like glazing liquid. Right? I'm pre-prepping the canvas with this wet paint and then I'm coming in with my brush having some white on it and getting some
Ah,
white worked into it. And then I'm blending it out.
that's cool.
It's just another way to get the work done. I like to change up the techniques that I demonstrate so you guys have 5 or 6 in your back pocket for any given painting that you're doing. If I feel like it's too even, this is an area where I don't have to have a lot of perfection, so I can be a little
Ah,
playful.
you can just kind of layer some more color in there.
I can put a little more color in there. I'm going to come here. A little more water. Just keep working it around until I have kind of a misty, moody background. How do I get the misty, moody in the background?
It just becomes moody.
Misty. Got a little bit of darker blue down here.
That makes it
See, the speed at which I'm working is very
deep.
important to the results that we're getting.
Yeah.
Adding a little water to my brush so that the white will flow off my brush fairly well. I'm here and kind of lighten this up a little bit down here. I'm working quickly. This is only working because my paint is all still wet.
Right.
That's why we use glazing liquid, is it keeps our paint wet longer. Take a little bit of our ultramarine blue and our phthalo blue together. I just keep misting and mooting this area up. So what you should have is subtle changes in light and dark. So it's not all just one tone.
It's nice. I like how it's got layeredness.
Yeah, it's going to have layeredness. And kind of blend that out. back and forth, just making sure it's got lots of dimensionality. Working quickly.
It does have a lot of dimensionality.
Yeah. What we're doing though, we're working
And
quickly.
right now it's still shiny, so
Mhm.
as it gets more matte, it'll have even
Yeah.
more of that.
We'll dry it and check it, and then if we need to, we do a second layer, and if we don't, we just continue on. It's generally how we work that out.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Not looking bad. Rinse my brush out in all 3 water buckets so it's completely clean. I'm not carrying extra pigment with me, and I'm going to wipe it off. Now I'm going to tip this to look at it, as it is shiny, and go, that's okay. I like that. It's a nice sort of diffused, kind of light blue, slightly darker blue background. We're going to dry this with the hair dryer. When we come back, I'm going to tell you what we do next. Okay, so this is the step where you would use the traceable if you're going to be using that. I'm going to show you real quick. Freehand, I'm putting this in with chalk. I've already kind of given myself some guidelines here, but I'm going to go over it with you and then how we paint it in. So on the lower left, we're going to come up and make a little bump and come down, coming up towards the center, over more center to about here. Then I'm going to make a bump. It's the top of a skull. Come down and bring a little cheek in. Bring a little cheek in. And little teeth bumps down low. Right above that, I'm going to make a little skeleton nose, a round eye, and a squinted eye. And then coming off of this, we're going to come and do a lip up. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, right about here. And paint, I make a little circle using my, this is satin glazing liquid. It just helps me draw a circle. I'm just getting some help drawing a circle. You can use the bottom of your paint tubes to do that. Now, once I have that in and once you have the traceable on, then we're going to do a couple of things. I'm going to get a little black onto my brush. I'm using a number 6 round by Raphael. And I'm going to come along my little chalk line and just make sure that I've got a little permanent paint guide that I can follow. This is going to allow me to paint the 2 little zones of the world here. Little bumps where the teeth are. Bump, bump. Like to make the teeth kind of pointy so that they look a little bit threatening.
I like them.
Threatening teeth.
Got the teeth.
Threatening teeth. Little circle for the eye. Maybe do a better little circle there. Even though skulls don't squint, this will work. We're going to come off here. I love our scary cave. Now I'm going to go ahead and get a little white on my brush. I've rinsed it out. I'm changing color. So I'm getting a little white on my brush. And I'm going to come in and just paint this one white. I'm going to bring this in and kind of just color this a little bit white just to cover the blue underneath. I can do what I want to do next there. All right, once you have that done, we're going to want to dry everything, and then I can show you what we're together going to do next. So we're going to want to work in the upper area, which is the atmosphere in the sky. I'm going to use a number 20 Raphael d'Artagnan round brush. It's got a hog bristle head. If you don't have this, you could use your hog bristle bright or You can do some pretty similar blending with angle brushes that are super stiff. So there's a couple options for you, but I'm going to use this one because I think it's going to give me the best diffused look. I'm going to go in and take a little bit of my phthalo blue and ultramarine blue and get a little of my titanium white involved. And I'm going to begin to kind of scumble in this lighter kind of color that's up here. Scumble, scumble. It's okay that some is showing underneath. This is just a very rough and scumbly sky. Kind of creating a moody effect up here. Sometimes you got to get moody. You got to get it moody.
It was a little quiet here because my nose is all sniffly.
Is it sniffly?
I got sniffly on
You got
me.
the
I don't know.
sniffles?
Some like
Don't bring the
wind.
sniffles near me, man.
A wind blew some allergens
To your face?
towards my nose holes.
Oh no. It's really oh, do you remember the pine tree pollen in Houston? That was just ooh, such an experience. Just coming across here and we're just giving this guy a little bit of a light pick me up. Very rough painting here. Continue to scumble this down. And it's scumbly. Come back over here and kind of scumble a little more. Making almost like a, feels atmospheric, doesn't it? It could be a cloud or got trees and things here. We're just making
Be some fog.
fog. Oh, that's too white. Come in and get some blue on my brush and go right over that.
It could be smoke.
Could be smoke. It's just something sort of rising up.
A genie.
A genie. A djinn.
Gin.
This world, it would be a djinn. Because we've gone scary Halloween today.
Oogie boogie.
What?
It could be oogie boogie.
Oogie boogie?
Oogie boogie.
I think he's a more specific little character. I like him a lot. All right. This here. Some atmospheric perspective. Load up with a little more white into my brush. I wipe my brush off every time I rinse with my towel to keep the water from building up too much in the brush. Come here and make sure that there's just a little atmospheric perspective, a little what could be clouds. A little more of the blue in here and kind of come back in. Now, sometimes when you're working with a hog bristle brush and you've got water on there and you're doing your acrylic, you'll see mild foaming. That's just because of the nature of the brush and the water in the brush. It won't hurt anything, and you can always kind of come in carefully and oh, Eyes itchy. And spread it out. Come back here with some more drama, but I'll bring this down here. Now I'm going to rinse out. I've got kind of messy, interesting little sky here. And I'm going to take a little of my ultramarine blue over to my quin magenta. I'm going to come down here, this dark purple, right over the blue.
Ooh, that's nice.
And bring this on up here. Maybe a little more magenta and some white in it. Blend it in, work it along. Bring this up here. We'll just be peeking out from behind the trees. Rinse out. I'm going to come here and take a little bit of my magenta and my quinacridone magenta and my cad red together. We're going to come right here. Kind of on the toe of the brush, just work out an irregular little shape of this darker red. Bringing this darker red along that line. I want to get a little bit of yellow into here. And I'm going to come down here very carefully, add a little glow. A little bit here. Maybe a little bit up here. Just a little bit of a glow. Okay.
I like him.
Don't we like it?
Yeah.
And then the next thing we're going to do, actually, let's call this a step and let's dry this. And then I'll show you the next thing we're going to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my brush, fairly wet with water, and I'm going to paint my canvas with some water coming along my little hill line here and under my skull.
Oh, yeah. I can see the water dripping.
Yeah, we're creating that. We're going to come along here and just make some little drips. And we're just painting it all wet with water first. I'm not going to take it all the way down to the bottom. But I want to make sure that it's wet enough for it to have great capillary or blooming action. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my blue and my Mars black. I'm going to get it a little bit wetter than I would normally do anything. And I'm going to come along here and begin to paint the drips. I've thinned it just enough with water so it will drip and pour down. They're just dripping down. I'm going to straighten that one up. Just drag some drips down. I'm going to just make a little wiggle here. Come back in and grab some just black in my water. That's real wet. Just tapping this along here. Just drip that along there.
I love that drippy effect.
The drippy effect is a fun effect. We don't do it a lot in watercolor, in acrylic painting, but it is a really fun effect. The trick is to not add so much water that the paint can't ever bind.
Yeah,
Right?
I
Like
want
if
to see
it's
that. Oh,
too
that's
watery, it can interfere with the paint's ability to bind. Go ahead and bring this all the way up to the edge here. Bring this all the way up to the edge. All along here. Get a little more water involved. More into my black. Now I know where my teeth are, so I can put those in pretty easily, so I don't mind painting up into them. If you're unconfident in that, you may want to be more careful around your teeth. Come up there. Come along with black here. Come up in the black there. Rinse that out. Maybe tip this up a little bit.
Give it a little more gravity.
Give it a little more gravity. I'm going to bring some
Extreme gravity.
water drips through here.
Oh, look at those.
Just to pull the pigment down and make everything a little drippier.
Man, you know what they say.
You can't drip enough drips.
Gravity will get you down.
I mean, it's been dragging me down lately. Like next level dragging me down.
Well, it can also keep you grounded.
Now you may want to put a paper towel under your painting because this can be kind of a messy technique. I'm going to go ahead and get my brush very, very clean. And then I'm going to come over into my Cad Red and Quin Magenta. Make a pretty watery effect. And up here I'm going to add some drops of this red. So a little like fun like paint pouring can be because it's You just don't know what you're going to get every time you do it. You kind of have an idea, but there's always something unexpected, a moment that you didn't expect to go off, or a drip that is extra delightful. I'm going to go ahead and tip this forward a little bit so I have a better drip. Because we drip, we drip, we drip. Drip, 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 drip. Drip, 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 drip. Drip, 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 drip. You gotta like the drips. That's not actually not true. Sometimes people like don't like sometimes people do not love the drips, and that's okay too. If you feel like you've got to love the drips. Yeah, it's a nice drippy, drippy little cave.
That is.
All right, now I've got to clean up my area and dry my canvas. Make sure that when you're drying this, you either allow it to air dry or you directionally place your hair dryer so it just continues to enforce the drips going down. If you turn it all at an angle, it's going to make them go sideways or this or that. So it's really up to you. Like if you've got great hair dryer skills and you're like, yeah, I can steer these exactly where they go. Cool, keep going. If you're like, I'm not entirely sure that I can get this the way I want it, then let it air dry and just clean up around it. All right, so let's do that. And when we come back, I will tell you what we do next. So now I'm going to take my number 6 Raphael round and I'm going to grab a little bit of my white over into my black and blue mixture, make up a couple values, and I'm going to come over here to this and start to paint what is not our moon, but a moon. I have a lesson if you want to have it be an exact moon. I have a lesson on how to paint a moon exactly as our moon. It's a moonscape lesson.
Sure.
But this one we're going to just generally do our moon, which I'm actually not too bad at. I'm just painting it in the light gray with my round brush. And then I'm going to come get some slightly darker gray. And then we're going to just wiggle in little moon landscapes. Wiggle in little moonscape. Have a little more white on here. A little brighter on this side. Around here with a little line. A little lighter spot. Giving us a nice little moon effect. The moon effect. Now, sometimes I can rinse out the brush, dry off the brush, and then kind of feather out the tip of the brush. And also very carefully come here and soften some of this. Make a little more interesting. Tappy tappy moon. Isn't that crazy how fast it comes in?
It is.
A little more of my light gray for over here. Tappy tappy moon.
That's super cool moon. It's not blue.
It's not a blue moon. It's not in any way a blue moon. All right. Now I'm going to want to dry that. And when I come back, I'll tell you what we do next. I want to improve the vibrancy over here. So I'm going to take my number 20 round. It's slightly damp. I'm going to also kind of wipe it off my towel to make sure that it stays damp and isn't wet. I'm going to grab a little bit of my cad red and my quin magenta together. Make that kind of like brighter-y red. I'm going to come in here and just add another layer. of this in red. Up here and hit it again. Just a regular little shape. I'm going to get a little bit of my yellow on my brush. More orange than what I put there. I want it to be distinctly orange. A little bit of brighter light captured there. I'm just using the toe of the brush. That looks pretty good. So that brightened that up just a little bit. Now I'm going to take my round brush again. I'm going to get it a little bit wet. And from here, coming down, I'm going to paint some water drops. And then I'll go ahead and get a little bit more of the reds together, the cad red and the quin magenta loaded up heavily on my brush. And then we're going to just come down here and paint that brighter red drop. Get a little more. Little drop coming down. Drop coming down. I try to make some of them. This is my green
There's a
screen.
kitty back behind the stage. he was playing with the curtain there. That was the little shake we just saw. I don't know if you heard the there was the claws going down the green screen.
And a little bit of a long drip here.
Oh, okay, you out. There's two cats down here.
Well, this is clearly where we need them.
Right.
That's why they're there, is because we obviously need their help. We're being so boring and sitting in these chairs for so long. Clearly, we need some rescue.
Yeah. You can hear the thunder. That's the thunder of cat food.
The thunder down under or over.
The Thundercats.
Oh, thunder, 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 cats. Oh,
I don't think that's how it went.
no, it isn't. But that's the song that was in my head, so it's what got sung.
I know. I love you too. The mishmash of 80s that just sort of played through that I heard. It was just sort of like, I know how you got there.
You know how I got there? You've been married to me for a long time. You know. Speaking of the 80s, this has got a bit of a Castle Grayskull feel to it.
Yeah, good. Mumra's castle, it could be.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
Never know. You could see an Orco pop up in that little eye there.
No, there will never be an Orco in my. I'm not painting it. I don't think about Orco. I have strong negative feelings about Orco. It's right up there with Scrappy Doo.
Mm.
And listen, if you love Scrappy Doo and Orko, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like mean or nothing. It's just it did not work for me. Didn't work. Didn't work. Just hand painting the drippier drips. See what I'm saying? You don't let gravity control these.
Mm-hmm.
No chaos theory here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Just gravity theory.
yeah, definitely works.
You know what this is?
Mm.
Gravity Falls.
Now I would paint Gravity Falls. That'd be so fun to have
That'd be
fan
fun.
art.
Be a fun one to do. You could have inappropriate crossovers.
One could. Now I'm gonna kind of here. I'm gonna come
Ooh.
back here and make ones that do sort of drip.
The drips.
Just a little bit of this. More water. It's fuzzy, but it
It
has a nice
is.
payoff.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and heavy load this over here
Ooh.
and pick up some more pigment. Paint the little drippy drips down. It should feel blood-like dripping down. There actually is a place that's actually called Blood Falls, and it
I.
looks like the falls. It's in the Arctic or
Huh?
it's Svalbard or
Yep.
something.
But I don't know
And
Spellbark. But I do
huh,
know what you're talking about.
it wasn't Svalbard.
I don't know. That's it. It.
I'm probably saying that wrong. So if you're from there, if you're one of the few people who's from there,
it
I'm super sorry. I'm not really good
no.
at that, but
It
that's where I
did
believe it
have
is.
many consonants together in the pronunciation of the place,
True.
and it was very icy. And what was really cool is that it's a combination of water that gets enriched with some microbes that then have an oxygen rich, no, iron rich
Yeah, something
water
like
that then oxidizes when it hits the surface, so it rusts and it turns into like these bloody falls because it gets squirted out of the glacier in this very interesting ways. It builds up this cool looking ice over there.
look at that. So now we have the nice like planned drips to give the artfulness to it, which we're
Mm-hmm.
going for. But to do anything else, we'll need to dry this. Now remember, if it's wet or heavy when you do the hair dryer, it will like see how this drip is super heavy. It's a heavy drip.
It's a heavy drip. Oop! It's still dripping.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I will guide it where I want it. So you just don't want any that are too heavy. You may have to guide them down. So when you dry it, just don't dry it to the angle or an angle because they'll go. Psh, psh. Not the worst thing in the world, but won't look like downward drips. The other thing you can do is just allow it to air dry,
Mm-hmm.
and that. So push pause on me, and then when yours is dry, you'll hit play. And I'm going to dry mine right now, and we'll meet each other back in just a second. So now I'm going to want to take my number 6 round. I'm going to get it wet, and I'm going to get some black paint on here, just black. And I'm going to come over from the top of this paint out what is kind of crookedy tree. And then from here, I might and then I will be very, very fussy about the tops of this if I can. There we go. Painting little downward branches.
They're not upward lifting branches, they're sad downward branches.
Sad, spooky little downward branches.
Gravity's got them down.
Gravity's just bummed them out completely. Got my hand in wet paint.
That's so cool.
All the way down there, little downward. Downward, sad. Sad little branch. Shorter branches as I come down. And come up here and just little branches kind of coming up too, being all twiggly. And then very similar deal up here. Tree skeletons. I love little tree skeletons. Get a little bit of black. There we go. Oh, little black twiggles. Come up here and add lots of little roots and branches. Range is coming up out of the top of the Skull Mountain.
Yeah.
I get a little water on here so that I've got good flow. I'm going to work that water into the paint. Try to branch them off each other. Remember to make each branch that's coming off the main branch a little smaller than the one it's attached to. Twiggling it up. Twiggle, twiggle, twiggle.
Keep on the twiggles.
Keep on twiggling.
I like the way that the trees kind of emphasize the crown of creepy.
Crown of thorns, crown of creepy.
I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I'm going to make sure that I've got kind of an irregular building up a kind of rocky plant-based bottom. A little water and a lot of the glazing, and not glazing liquid, a lot of the Mars black. And I just kind of wiggle my brush to make a rough edge here. Just wiggle it roughly. Lots of irregular shapes.
Scratching that in.
Yeah, just wiggling it in. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Little roots coming down. Just letting little branches come off my brush. Find little elbows and like bring them out. Little roots coming down.
That's cool.
All right. Let us dry that with the hair dryer, shall we? All right, so now we're going to come into the eyes just real fast and we're going to paint those white so that we can do the bright, bright, bright glow. For some reason, the white is not thinning. Sometimes that'll happen where your white isn't thinning. It's gooped up, goopy gooped. You got to add some water into it to get it to thin.
And get all ooky, goopy.
Gooky, goopy, boopy. And a little bit here. Pretty good. I'm going to grab some of my thinned black. I'm still using my number 6 round. Darken the inside of the nose cavity. Have to paint back up some of the stone back up into it. And then we're going to just paint the teeth black. A little itch on my eye. Gotta be careful though.
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm going to take a little bit of my black and blue together. Interestingly enough, I'm going to get some white involved. Not white, yellow. And I'm going to begin to sort of come around the eye here. Also around here. Brush that down. Just a starting place right there. Rinse out. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my white over to my blue and black. I'm going to begin to sort of shade out the skull. I'm using a 1/2 inch angle brush, Catalyst by Princeton. A little more white right here. Dry brush in. A little darker up top. A little darker kind of coming around the inside corner. Maybe a little bit right here. And back into the blue and white. Sometimes I might get a little yellow in there, kind of green it a bit. On the corner of the brush, I come over the nose. A little more blue in it. A little bit of a shadow kind of coming up over the ocular cavity. A little bit of black and blue again together. Back up into the nose. Really down to the teeth. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this. I'm going to very carefully kind of highlight some rocks and landscape coming down. Little rough marks. Just making little landscape definitions here. A little bit there.
I like
Definitely
that.
come over here with a bunch of this.
It's sort of like the landing around
Yeah.
little grasses.
Grasses, little ground. Come around here and just kind of roughly paint that all around. It has a little bit of a bushy quality to it. A little bit of yellow into that mix. It's looking pretty good. Get a little more yellow into it. Add a few little highlights to some of these rocks with the green. Not everywhere, just a few little pops of that green, kind of like making it feel like climbing rocks or steps or whatever. All right, now I'm going to want to dry everything. Okay, so now we're going to take a little bit of my yellow and some red, just a smidge of the red to make kind of a yellow orange. And I'm going to come into my eyes. I'm going to paint this. Come in and I'm going to leave a little bit in the center.
Oh, he's got like that glowing eye of doom.
Yeah, we're going to make a little bit of a glowing eye of doom.
I added the doom part. Yours might be of happiness or celebration. You never know.
You never know.
I like the doom vibe.
If you lose the white in the eye, it's okay because we're going to put it back. We're just like making sure that there's a little bit of a white center to the heat of this.
How about doom and or kittens?
Well, I mean, you could if you needed to. I'm going to rinse out. I'm going to grab some just yellow. Might take it over here and see if I can't, with clean water, sort of thin it out.
This could be the mountain of kittens.
Don't know that there'll be any kittens in the mountain. I'm going to come in and kind of yellow right around the center a little bit.
There's got to be some creepy kittens out there somewhere.
Get some yellow into this over here. And get a little white involved.
Although that's getting that's like that mountain has a stare to it.
It do.
It you just it's looking at you.
Gonna add some little scrapey lights. Scrapey lights. Scrapey over the nose. A little rough under here. And go ahead and get a little white into the black and blue. Highlight right here above the teeth. Get a little bit of my black on here. Highlight inside the teeth. Kind of rough. And I'm going to like kind of scrapey rough this here.
I like how these layers kind of break up and make it even more oogie.
Oogie. Good way of looking at it. Just highlighting. Gonna get a little blue, black, white. There we go. Kind of a gray green. A little bit around that eye. Get a little bit of the white going here. Wiggle that around. And work it up into the roots and things so it's irregular. Might even come in and finger smooth. Look at that.
Wow.
Come in and get a little bit of white. Come to the center of my eye and kind of pop in a little bit of a white pupil. A bit of a white pupil there for the glowing eye. And get a little bit of my yellow and orange on my brush. A little bit there. The highlights, get it. A little bit of my color mixed in.
Mm.
Kind of come in and maybe
The Cave of Wonder. Ooh.
it gave us something for sure.
Creepy kittens.
Cave of Creepy Kittens. I guess it
Yep.
could be the Cave of Creepy Kittens if you really wanted it to be.
I'm thinking.
You know, wherever you want to take you. A little blue and black together. Get my white involved in it. Kind of highlight this right here.
I mean, where did Mumra get his pet cat? Except for the Cave of Kittens.
The Creepy Cave of Kittens.
Cave of Creepy Kittens.
The Cave of Creepy Kittens. I'll wiggle that there. It's interesting to paint horror scenes. They have their own kind of energy and vibe, you know?
Inspector Gadget's arch nemesis, his pet cat. That's where it came from.
Glowing out there. Glowing little eyes. And kind of define the little nose area a bit too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When you're all done with that and you have that where you like your creepy cave, you're going to dry everything.
Okay.
So I'm going to come here and I'm going to grab a little bit of my black and blue again. And I'm going to come down from my little tree line. Wiggling it through here. Kind of arc that over. just so that we have a little bit of the shape of the head.
That's nice. It'll just finger blend it in.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the texture of the eye when you get in and look close. You can't see it even just from this far away, but up in there you can like see how oogie he is.
Kind of smudge it in.
The little tree line on his head. He has a receding tree line.
He does have a receding tree line. So I've got my blue and my black here. And I'm coming kind of up above my eyes and everything, and I'm shading in a little bit of our ocular cavity. Dry brushing. To make this maybe not as bright. See what I'm doing? Back into this. Kind of wiggle that back. That's my blue, green, gray. Alrighty. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to let that have a rest there. And then I'm going to come down here. And actually, we could call it a new step. I'm going to take some black over to a clean spot on my palette, and I'm going to thin it with water. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this black, and I'm going to paint a little sort of shape here. It's sort of like a little, remember, not triangular, little upward bat ears.
You saying he's got bats in the cave?
He's got bats in the cave. Yes, he do. Yes, he do.
Creepy Kitten Cave has bats in it. You know what they have? They might be cat bats. There might be cat bats in this cave.
You feel like it's a cat bat cave?
It could be a cat bat cave.
I feel like you've got a lot of feelings on this cave. And another little scoop. Another little scoop.
This is the cave of creepy kittens and cat bats.
It's a cave of creepy somethings, anyways. And bats in the cave.
Bats in the cave.
Did I do an entire painting for a dad joke? Possibly.
Well, it's just one bat. One bat in the cave. You're a loner bat.
It's a big bat.
He broke wind and scared his friends away. Like, I know it was you, Fred. I could hear you. They got that ultrasonic hearing. A bat in the cave.
You know, you got to bat what you can bat.
Can bat in the cave. That's cool.
Bat in the cave, bat in the cave, bat in the cave.
He's escaping the cave.
He's escaping the cave. Now, I might get a smaller brush for this next part, just so that I'm not working so hard to be small. And I'm going to paint some other little flying bats here and there.
Ooh.
Ooh.
He's not a loner.
Well, there's only one in the cave. The other bats have escaped the cave.
The other ones are up there in the sky.
The other ones have escaped the cave and are doing their own little thing. All right, I'm using, by the way, number 0 Raphael Precision. It's going to be a little tiny bat. It's farther away.
It's not a miniature bat.
It's not a miniature bat. It's just a distant bat.
It's very, very large, but far away.
Uh, almost touched the canvas.
Somehow, let me go here. How about there it is.
There we go. And then we do a little scoop, scoop, scoop. A little farther bat. It's a nice little bat kind of there. A few little bats never hurts anybody. And put one here. This one's got just a little dot. And its little wings kind of go up like this. I think that's a fun one. That's really cool.
That you could.
Bats and bats. We've done some bats this time, you know? Maybe a bat in front of the moon, right?
I feel like we could Easter egg little kittens in the woods. You see the little eyes, little dots of
What
eyes.
you guys don't know is this whole time John's been making suggestions of things that should go in the painting. Slender Man in the cave.
My imagination is caught the cave. I think it's cool. Like, you could put all sorts of creatures in your cave. You have Kevin the Kraken in there. You know,
Swirl this one up there and then
you have a squirrel in the cave.
heard it again buzz by me. Something is buzzing by me. But I'm going to be brave.
It's one of those big Michigan beetle bugs that goes, it flies by. Sounds like a.
You say that, but we don't know that's true. I'm doing this wing a little bit bigger because he's kind of at a turn.
Sounds like a small aircraft flying by.
Maybe a little dot here and then downward wings. Downward wings on the bat. Make sure the bat wings are all painted in. The little holes showing through. While we're here, I'm going to take a little bit of my white. Actually, I might grab fluid white just to make my life easier. Fluid white. It's just like a heavy-bodied acrylic paint, but it's in a thinner body. I'll show you the bottle. Sometimes I do that when I've got fine lining. Too much white. Okay. So the bottle is this right here, golden fluid acrylic. Any craft paint bottle. I'm just trying to get a thinner bodied acrylic. So I don't have to thin with water. I'm going to just very carefully
Oh, that's cool. Get some rim lighting.
Yeah, we're going to rim light our little bat here. A little bit coming out. This is going to be challenging, but I'm going to try to do it here as well.
You can spin your painting if you need to. Remember, you're supposed to do that.
Yes, I do remember that.
But you like to be able to get that arc. You get that arc. Sometimes you don't.
Just a few little bats of fleeing away. And where I got that line too thick,
That's cool.
all I have to do is come back with my thinned black paint. Make sure I've got no hidden water drops. Just very carefully thin that line back. See, not hard at all. You can always go and thin a little line back out. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take a little bit of my Cad Red and Quin Magenta.
Mm.
And I'm going to go ahead and kind of let up between my teeth.
Increase that contrast.
Yeah. He should be kind of like a hot mess. All right, let's dry everything. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you what we do next. So you take a look at everything. And if you're happy, if you feel good about it, and this is your painting, so you can continue adding more bats in the cave or kittens, as John is suggesting.
It could be kittens in the cave.
You just are very fascinated by kittens in the cave. And actually, what I think I'm going to do, I was going to sign in white, but I think what I need to do is sign in red. So I'm going to take a little bit of my Cad Red and Quin Magenta, and I'm going to load it on my little detail brush here. I'm going to come down to the base and just very carefully add a little moniker here. I'm choosing red because honestly, it'll be the least noticeable color right here.
Sort of doesn't draw out. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right? It doesn't pull away from all the work that we did. Now, John is going to make me big. Thank you guys so much for your time today. I just love painting this with you. I know John loves spending this time with you. It's just a really great pleasure to get to do these programs with you. Gentle reminder that this is part of the 13 paintings of the 13 days of Sherpaween, where from October 1st to October 13th, I release a new Halloween themed painting. And I do all kinds of different vibes on that. I do like cute, and I have a little scary. I like to mash it up a bit. And so it gives a little something for everybody. So that's going on. More information about that is in the description below. And you can also find a link to my art store there where you could purchase any of the art materials that I demonstrated in today's painting. Other than that, there's really nothing for you to do, but be good to yourself, be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel real soon. Bye-bye.